Maddow blog, Harris gets new Republicans' endorsements, upping pressure on holdouts. When Republicans for Harris launched in early August, NBC News noted that the Democratic presidential ticket was eager to add to its list of GOP supporters. That campaign officials were especially interested in seeking endorsements from former Rep. Liz Cheney and former Senator Jeff Flake. About a month later, Cheney raised some eyebrows with her public support for Harris. And nearly a month after the Wyoming Republicans' announcement, Flake followed suit. Politico reported, Flake, who recently wrapped up his tenure as the U.S. ambassador to Turkey, didn't just issue a video endorsement for the Democratic nominee. The Arizonan also appeared on ABC News this week to elaborate on his perspective and criticize his own party's nominee. "I think Republicans believe in the rule of law in particular," Flake said. "And it's difficult to support a candidate who, having lost an election, tries to use the powers of the presidency to overturn that election. That is anything but respect for the rule of law. So I know that a lot of conservative Republicans feel the way I do, that you just can't support a candidate like that." The Arizona Republicans' endorsement came just days after former Kansas Republican Senator Nancy Kassebaum also threw her support behind the incumbent Democratic vice president. That news came on the heels of Harris picking up support from some Republicans who worked on Nikki Haley's presidential campaign, as well as endorsements from 3 former chairs of the main Republican Party. It also follows weeks of related endorsements for Harris from former GOP governors, lawmakers, cabinet secretaries, White House staffers, and even a former Republican vice president who probably never dreamed he'd be backing a Democratic presidential candidate. At this point, however, readers might have noticed that I keep using a specific word, former. That's because, as impressive as Harris's list of Republican supporters is, it doesn't include any current GOP members of Congress. The question is whether that will change or not between now and Election Day. Plenty of prominent voices are keeping the pressure on. Former Republican strategist, consultant Rick Wilson wrote on Friday, for example, "Just saying you won't vote for Trump and that you'll write in a third-party candidate or someone not on the ballot is morally and politically insufficient. It is not a sign of courage to merely reject Trump. It is not a sign of strength to say he's unqualified to be president and then refuse to endorse Harris. Some of you will vote for Harris in secret. This is fine for rank-and-file folks, but not for you. The test here is only passed with a ringing, public endorsement of Kamala Harris. Nothing else suffices." Liz Cheney made related comments earlier this month. "It is crucially important for people to recognize, not only is what I've just said about the danger Trump poses something that should prevent people from voting for him, but I don't believe we have the luxury of writing in candidates' names, particularly in swing states," the Wyoming Republican said. "As a conservative, as someone who believes in and cares about the Constitution, I have thought deeply about this, and because of the danger that Donald Trump poses, not only am I not voting for Donald Trump, but I will be voting for Kamala Harris. For now, much of the focus is on retiring Senator Mitt Romney, who has ruled out the possibility of voting for Trump, but who's resisted pressure to endorse Trump's opponent. People know where I stand on Donald Trump, and that's enough," the Utah Republican told the Washington Post. "There are plenty of credible voices in both parties who believe it most certainly is not enough."